probably is a little bit harder. I think the key to good leadership is belief. The leader must believe in the project, whatever it is, and those in the team must believe in the leader. I think that probably is a bit harder to achieve these days than it used to be.
I think the challenges of leadership are no different now from what they were 20 years ago. I still think people carry this assumption that it's about the boss rather than you as an individual, but we can all be leaders.
I personally think it's actually easier. I think there's an expectation now that standards are much higher on infrastructure projects. And I think because of the diverse nature of our workforce now, there is more of an appetite to be engaged in individual leadership. So I think it's easier now.
I think it is easier. I think we've moved to a more inclusive way of managing people, and safety culture now is truly a top to bottom but bottom to top process. So with that openness, I think becomes the opportunity for greater leadership.
In some ways it's harder to inspire leadership because you're dealing with complex matrix managed organisations and respect has to be earned. But in other ways it's easier because you have technology to facilitate a broader footprint so that you can get your views more widely known more easily.
I think generally it's easier to inspire leaders in 2014. When I think back to 20 years ago, I think that the culture within organisations was somewhat of a tell. Today, our leaders are more coaches and therefore they understand what is needed from them as coaches. However, sometimes they don't fully understand or get that they can really influence great changes within organisation, and their roles are very, very important.
It is much, much, much harder. Why? Because I think people are more realistic, they're more savvy, and in many ways cynical. Why cynical? Because of what happened in 2007. We used to believe in institutions, we used to believe in charismatic leaders, we used to even believe that bankers knew what they were doing. But after 2007 and 2008, people questioned that, and I think quite rightly so. And so now people say, yes, you might be a leader, but why should I follow you? And that's the biggest challenge.
Do you know, I honestly think it's exactly the same. The themes that we need to address are eternal. When I introduce the corporate social responsibility section, I'll be referencing things from 100 years ago and also good and bad examples from today.
I think it's easier, but it isn't easy at the moment. And I think lots of the initiatives from the HSC, as it was at the time, and the Institute of Directors and the guidance they produced, together with things around corporate social responsibility, for example, ethical investment from investors actually is driving better standards of health and safety management.
Over the last 20 years we've seen an increased appetite on the part of regulators like the HSC and local authorities to prosecute directors and senior managers in their personal capacity. I think the HSC released some figures saying that there'd been a 400% increase in personal prosecutions. As a result of that, we're seeing that it's more commonplace for directors and senior managers to want to learn more about their health and safety responsibilities and about leading health and safety from the top.
It's both. It's easier in one way that organisations actually work with other organisations regarding benchmarking. Other organisations will make it harder by saying, well, this is what we've always done. This is the way we operate regarding their working practices.
I believe it's easier to inspire leadership on the ground because I think people are more aware of what they have to do to be safe for themselves and safe for the people around them. And I find in the industry I'm in that people look out for each other. So I need to inspire those people to be leaders, to know what they're doing and believe that they're doing the right thing.
I think it's easier to inspire leadership now because so many great projects have been doing really good things. I think business leaders are much more aware that great health and safety performance contributes to great business performance.